Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those that don't know who I am, my name's Rainey and I'm an elementary music teacher by day and a teacher productivity mentor by night. So I help teacherpreneurs master their time and energy while scaling their biz so that they can break up with busy and stop sacrificing their mental health. And in today's video, it's been a highly requested one, we're going to talk about how to know what TPT products to create for your shop in order to, 1, save you time, and 2, make you more money. Because when I first started out, I was kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall. I didn't know exactly what to do, what products to create. My store was a hot mess express, and I will share definitely more of my story in the future, but I've gotten really well at knowing what my audience wants and what my time-saving efforts should be and what products I should do moving forward. And so I really want to make sure to share that with you today. But really quick, if you don't know, I'm obsessed with Rae Dunn and I saw this and I had to have it. So it says chick magnet, but that's not even the best part. It has a chick on the top. I know, priorities. But nonetheless, I'm just really enjoying this cup today. So with that, we're gonna get started and talk about my top 7 tips to help you know what TPT products you should make in your shop. Cheers. Okay, so the first thing that you need to consider when you're wondering what type of stuff you should be creating is reflecting back to your content pillars, which if you're like, I've never heard of content pillars, I'll definitely make a separate video on that in the future. But the short spiel is your content pillars is 3 to 5 topics overarching topics of content that you talk about regularly on a consistent basis in your brand. So for example, yes, I'm a music teacher, but there's so many different concepts or different things that I could focus on within music. So one thing that I do a really great job at is creating book or music literacy activities for kids. So I always have a new book, like a Halloween book, and it'll have a music lesson with it, like popular books like Halloween Hustle or Bonaparte Falls Apart, or different things like that. I love creating lessons with books, and so that's something that I'm known for. Another thing I really love is creating purposeful music curriculum. So I will always make sure to tie in popular folk dances and rhythm games and all of that. And then the last thing that I love doing is organization, obviously, and teacher productivity. So I will create stuff like Google Keep headers for teachers or lesson planning templates for music teachers. And those are the 3 things that I try to really focus my store on, but also focus my content on in my stories, on my Instagram, my Facebook, and all of that. So if you don't really have content pillars and one day you're talking about 5th grade math, like fractions, and then the next day you're talking about like ELA, and then you're talking about this and you're talking about that, and you're not really known for one specific thing, then you need to first tackle that. So a great thing for you to do is to sit down and think about what sort of things you want to be known for. Like if you had someone go to your shop and they were thinking of this type of resource, who would they go to? Would they go to you? So I'm hoping that when people want book-based lessons, they will come to my shop. That when they're wanting organizational teacher stuff, they'll come to my shop. So what do you want people to come to your shop for? That's the very first thing that you need to consider when you're thinking about where to place your time in regards to TPT products. The second thing you need to consider is thinking of your own buying patterns. What types of resources do you buy or do you look for on a regular basis? So for example, as a music teacher, I'm always looking for seasonal activities, which a lot of people say not to create a lot of seasonal activities because that's not timely or evergreen, which we'll talk about soon. That doesn't really apply to special areas because we focus a lot of our curriculum also tying in with seasonal things. But I'll be looking for Halloween rhythm activities or maybe Thanksgiving melodic activities. So what sort of things am I looking for and how could I, instead of looking for them, create them? Because if I'm looking for them, then it definitely means other music teachers are probably looking for them. So you definitely want to look into your own buying patterns first and see what types of things you're buying, and then see what can you take and actually create out of that. Like what do you need to stop looking for anymore? Like you could be the source of that, especially if it's like a bigger ticket item. So for example, if you're always looking for interactive math notebooks for your kids, what if you made your own interactive math notebook and then people came to you for that? So just different things like that. So think about your own buying patterns as well. The third thing you need to look at is your data. You want to actually know what products are doing well for you. What is selling on a consistent basis? What were your top 10 sellers for the month? Because until you actually look at the data, you don't really know. And I was looking at my data for the past 2 years the other day, and I didn't realize that there were certain resources that I thought were doing the best that month, and they actually weren't. So how you can check your data really easily and see what is selling for you and what is not, especially for the month that you're in, you're going to go to your TPT seller dashboard, and then you're going to click on modifying the dates, and you're going to click on the 2 dates that you want. So I'll look from, like, for example, January 1st to January 31st, and then I will click entire store, and it'll show me any products that were sold. Well, it'll show me all of my products, and it'll say 0 next to the ones that weren't sold, but it'll show me all of the products that sold and how much I made for that product. And then I just go in and I put that all into my spreadsheet that I have, and I keep on going. And then when I'm looking for products that I want to make for February, for example, I will look at February from last year and see what sold really well and what didn't. Like if I actually made something that I wanted targeted in February and it didn't sell, then I know not to make stuff like that again. But if there's certain stuff that did really well, I can either think, how can I make another resource just like this, or how can I add on to that resource so that people can buy more stuff in the next year? So data can be your biggest friend. You need to look into it. You need to know your numbers, and you need to know what you're doing. So definitely look into your data, as it's a powerful tool that can be used to work with you and not against you. Fourth thing that you want to consider when you're trying to think about what TPT products to create for yourself is, can you create product lines or bundles? Now, I always heard people saying that like product lines and bundles are like the next way to go, but I never really thought about it because I don't buy like bundles. I just buy them like when I need them, because I'm also like just cheap and I don't buy like that. But a lot of people do. Like I literally made 3 bundles in February. I made a Black History Month music literacy bundle, so that's the book-based bundle. I made a Black History Month virtual music field trips bundle, and then I combined the 2 and made a mega bundle out of them. And those things sell every day. And so the big bundle, for example, is priced $30 on there, but you actually get it for $24. So like, how nice is it to have a sale come in that's $24 just because you made a bundle and you bundled together resources? Now, I'm sure you might already have resources on your shop that you could bundle together right now to save yourself money. And if you don't, then that's a really good thing to consider, is how can you create a set of resources that you can bundle together? Music teachers have it kind of easy. For example, I made a set of St. Patrick's Day Write the Room rhythm activities, and I just made one for each set of rhythms. So Ton Titi, Tiga Tiga, Ta-ah, all of those things. And so together with all 7 rhythms, I made it into a bundle, and it's like a $12 bundle. Now, how can you take things and either that are already in your shop and turn them into a bundle, or how can you think of a bundle down the line and start creating the products to put into said bundle? Same thing for product lines. How can you take an idea and run with it and create lots of different ones in the same set? Things that you can continue to create a template for, so that you're not recreating the wheel from scratch, because that's what I did for my Valentine's Day Write the Rooms and then my St. Patrick's Day Write the Rooms. It was the same exact activity. I just had to trade out the clip art and the font. And so I already had the Valentine's Day template, and so it was a lot quicker than having to start everything from scratch again. And you're always wanting to save yourself time in the process. So if you don't have bundles and you don't have product lines and you're just making one-off projects, that needs to stop, because you're not going to make money with one-off projects. Like I said, that was when I was throwing spaghetti at the wall and I didn't really know what I'm doing. And so we want to not be throwing spaghetti, and we want to have a plan to what we are creating, and everything has a purpose. Fifth thing that you need to consider when trying to figure out what TPT products to create is you need to think about filling the gaps. So now, I don't always encourage looking at other competitors out there and seeing what they want or what they're making, because one, it'll make you want to make the same things as them, and you'll actually end up pulling more, like stealing more from them like you realize, and then getting into that whole imposter syndrome scenario. And we don't want that. But I do recommend looking at them in the lens of trying to see what have they not created that you can create. For example, I noticed no one was making Black History Month music virtual field trips, and nobody was making Black History Month music literacy activities. In fact, nobody really makes the book-based lesson activities. There's a couple out there, but like I'm definitely killing the market on that. And so I knew that I like using books in the music room, and a lot of people like using books in the music room. So I made a bundle for that, and those things sell all of the time. Now that I have the bundle's selling more, but like each of those activities is only like $2-3, but when you're selling like maybe like 10, 15 a day, it starts to add up. And so because of that, I went from having like hardly any money in my shop to making almost $1,000 in the first week on TPT in February, which blows my mind because if you were in my last video, you know my push goal for all of February was 500 and my push goal for, or my stretch goal is 1,000. And so I'm already almost there. Just blows my mind. Super thankful for that. But I filled a gap and it was definitely needed and people definitely wanted it. So what is the thing in your market that people aren't really getting to yet, or that you could be the front runner behind? Like those virtual field trips. No one was really making music virtual field trips. So now I'm making them. More people are starting to make them. And so it was just something I wanted to dip my toes into to see if it was effective. And you never know until you try. So if you don't try anything and you just stick to what you know you can do, then you're not going to find that success that you could have had if you branched out and tried something new. The sixth thing you need to consider is how specific the resources are. So, of course, I will always look at my standards to kind of guide that, although music teacher standards are so different all over like the United States, so I don't really go with that. But you want to see how specific the resource can be, because the more specific it is, the more that a person is probably going to need it. So, for example, I know that I am always, which I haven't made this yet, but I'm going to, I have to teach about the 4 voices, and not like speaking, whisper, shout, all that. I have to teach about soprano, alto, tenor, and bass for a music exam, and most people have to teach it. And I've still not really found a resource that, oh, sorry, I sold a product while we're going. I still haven't found a resource that really teaches that well, and I keep stressing out about it every year, and so I know that I need to create that. But that's a super specific product that I know other music teachers are going to need, and nobody's made it yet, so I might as well fill that gap. So that's like a mixture of tip number 5 and tip number 6. So you want to make sure that your resources are specific. Some of them, there's a difference between having evergreen and seasonal products. Evergreen are products that can be used all year round, which I strongly recommend you always have evergreen resources, because there's not really big holidays during every month. Like there's not really a big holiday in May or June. And so you want to make sure that you are also having timely evergreen pieces, but you also want to have specific ones, like maybe specific seasonal activities, specific, I don't know, ELA activities, like all I'm thinking of is the digital interactive notebooks. But how specific can you make your products? So that's another thing to consider. And the last thing that I want you to consider when you're trying to think about what TPT products you should create next is asking your audience. Because your audience probably has something specific that they want you to help them with. So if you have ideas for products and for courses, memberships, all of the things, ask your audience. In fact, I'll tell you the best way that I just did this. I got a gift card for being a TPT author to give away to someone, a $10 gift card for the sale that's coming up on Tuesday, which check out my store if you want to get all that Black History Month stuff. I'll link it down below. But anyway, I am thinking about creating a Teacherpreneur, like systems and batching type course. Wink, wink, you're hearing about this right now. Anyway, I was thinking about it. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to know if that's even something that like people would sell, like that would want on the market. And so I made a bunch of questions, which if you answered in my stories the other day, then you helped with my market research. But it was stuff like, do you like paper or digital planning? Have you ever batched before? Would you want to batch? Do you quarterly or yearly plan? How do you feel your content strategy is? What about your systems in place? And all of that. And if you answered all the questions, you got entered for a TPT gift card. And normally I'll have like maybe 8 to 10 people like vote in my polls, and I had 36 people vote. Because 1, they wanted the TPT gift card. And 2, that was great market research for me. I have so many people that ended up saying yes, they needed that sort of thing. And so now I know I have the green light to go ahead and make that sort of thing. But you don't have to do that for a course. You could do that for products. So you could be like, what? Like, for example, there's not a lot of meter products out there, and I've been trying to look for ways to teach meter with my kids. So maybe for music, you could be like, do you have a solid strategy for teaching meter? And like, I don't know, just different things like that. But market research and polling your audience is the best way to do it, because your audience is the reason that you're making these things, so you might as well remember to ask them. And with that, that concludes our 7 tips to what you need to consider when you're trying to make TPT products. At the end of the day, if you want to save more time and you want to make more money, then you need to be very specific about the type of products that you're creating. And there are so many factors to consider when you're doing that. So I would love to know what sort of other videos you would like for me to create down in the comments down below. So always leave something for me to check. And I would love if you'd also subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you know when future videos are coming out. But with that, I'm going to take off. I have to film a couple more videos, and so I will see you on Friday. Bye, guys.